Good morning. It's Monday, February 3rd. Thanks for joining us on Up to the Minute. We're bringing you all the news, announcements, and events, along with a couple of special guests. I'm Dr. Amy Tan, Dean of HCC's English and Communications, and I'm joined by Dr. Nicholas Cox, our Interim Dean for Liberal Arts and Humanities. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be here. Good to see you again.
Yeah, the day after Groundhog Day. So I heard that Phil saw his shadow. We're going to have 6 more weeks of winter, but I didn't hear what that means for us here in Houston, Texas. Did you hear
Yeah.
anything?
I don't know. I don't know anything about winter in Texas, but it's also the day after the Grammys, which is what I spent my time.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll have to talk about that in a bit. So, Nick, we're live on HCCTV when HCC is in session. How can people find us?
Well, we are live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCC TV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Thank you. Today we have the arts on tap for both of our special guests. For Mental Health Monday, we'll be discussing art and a decreased likelihood of depression. And for that, we have our favorite, Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, the Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston, and our Mental Health Monday guest. Good morning, Dr. Fitzpatrick.
Good morning. So glad to be here with y'all.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing about that connection between arts and mental health. So we'll be right with you just after this first interview. And to welcome, I'm so happy to welcome Sue Moraska, our program director for our wonderful HCC Vast Academy. This is one of our premier programs at HCC. Welcome back to the show, Sue. Can you get your microphone there?
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it's always a joy to be on this show.
Well, you always bring such wonderful information, and we're all proud of your program. I know that is, you're super proud of it.
Thank you. Yes.
So all month, the Vast Academy is partnering with HCC Counseling and Abilities Services to present ReelAbilities, that's REEL, our Houston Film Festival. And you are co-chairing that event. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm co-chairing it with my wonderful colleague, Dr. Manaz Kalani, who oversees HCC's Counseling and Ability Services and our Title IX. But actually, I need to do a shout out to Dr. Zachary Hodges, our president of Northwest College, because he had heard about the ReelAbilities Festival, and he knew Michelle Fredericks, who is one of the coordinators there for the Jewish Family Service Alexander Institute of Inclusion that hosts this festival. And he brought us all together so we could talk about how we can bring this real education, real abilities to Northwest College. So we selected the Alief Hayes campus. We actually viewed the new short films and documentaries, and we selected 3. And actually, Dr. Manaz Kalani is going to facilitate a discussion after each short film. And of course, we're trying to get the word out so that we hope that we will have many faculty there, students, perhaps some professors will bring their students, faculty, staff, students. I know I have some of our Vast Academy students who will be attending, and then we're going to just facilitate the discussion after each one and hopefully inspire and learn and raise awareness. But primarily it's to raise awareness for the festival, the month-long festival that in Houston. Yeah.
It lasts all month, and I know it's going to involve some other events besides what's going on at HCC. So you told us about the A-Leaf ones. Now those are going to start tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, tomorrow, February 4th from 9:30 a.m. until noon. And they're very short films. You know, some of them might be 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. So if someone's on their way to class and they just want to catch one and they have to get to the next class, but they're very short films. So we hope that we get some good attendance for these films that we selected. And we sat down together and we selected a diverse group of films. We viewed them briefly, and they actually highlight various different disabilities. We focused a lot on neurodiversity this year because that seems to be something that seems to be growing. And so, and there's an interest there, but some of the films will have individuals with neurodiverse disabilities, mental health, Down syndrome, a variety of disabilities in each documentary.
That's fantastic. And I know that there's going to be a lot of interest from our community, faculty, staff, and students. So historically, ReelAbilities has been screened at HCC's Central campus. Are you going to be hosting some screenings at Central this month?
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is now the film festival in Houston, this is the 13th year to have this film and art and music festival. And we have been doing it for, I think, about 10 years. And our Vast Academy is considered a collaborative partner for this festival. And so we bring our students, but we do it right in the Learning Hub building, the William Harmon building in room 100. And of course, Abby Markowitz, who is the coordinator for the film festival, she will be there. We always do like a welcome, even at the one tomorrow, we'll have a welcome, greetings, introductions to talk a little bit about the festival. And then we have talkbacks from each film. We're going to show 4 films in February 19th and the 20th are the 2 dates. We do 2 different dates, the 19th and the 20th, but it's the same films each day.
That's excellent.
Right. We show 4 films from 9:30 to noon. And then we have one of our graduates, one of our successful alumni, Alex Chow, who actually works at the mayor's office for people with disabilities. And they're one of the collaborators of the ReelAbilities Festival. He goes out to the schools as well for the Real League Education screenings. He comes out and talks at the end and really inspires our students because they say, wow, this is one of our, I was just like Alex. Maybe I can go on and because he's employed and he's doing so well. So he actually is one of our speakers, because sometimes we have speakers from the film. Sometimes we have speakers with that type of disability. But Alex is our speaker at the Central College. And we have the talkbacks too.
That's wonderful. And I want to just throw out some other names here so we can also make sure we get to all the information. You have Dina Webster and is it Elise Gurka?
Yes, they will be attending tomorrow because they are my Spring Branch team. And I know I met quite a few of our Spring Branch students that go to class on Monday, Wednesday. They're off tomorrow. So we're hoping they're all coming. I believe Abby is coming. Abby was the one that was featured on Up to the Minute back in December because she was an actress on Frozen. She was one of the cast members of Frozen. She's acted in many musicals with Theater Under the Stars. And
so she's going to be attending, and people can come and hear her speak.
Yes,
and that's going to be tomorrow.
All students, but I know some of our students will want to speak to
her for sure.
Yes, exactly.
And so ReelAbilities is also hosting other events around town, such as Reel Workplace, which is happening this week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that one is a good one to come to. I know a lot of employers go to those, but for anyone, and they talk a lot about, ways to the workforce. It's all about inclusion, and making people be aware that person's, with abilities rather than disabilities, and focusing on what the workforce can do to have a more diverse, diversity in the workplace, basically. But it does feature, a lot of different speakers and presenters and workshops, I think, on employment.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have those conversations, to think about how neurodiversity fosters innovation, creativity. These are things that we don't always talk about when we talk about neurodiversity, but it's real. So before we let you go, there's 2 more events I want to make sure you get to talk about. There's Real People that will spotlight the first woman with Down syndrome to compete in a state Miss USA pageant. And then there's also a Real Film Night coming up with the screening of Left Alone Rhapsody, the musical memoir of pianist John Bayliss. Can you tell us about those 2 events really quickly?
Well, those are when you do the people, the one with the people, they always feature real, professionals, experts that have some type of disability that has overcome the challenge and inspired. And I know John Bayless, he was a pianist, and eventually he had a stroke and he can only use one hand. And so he's going to be really inspiring. And then, of course, the one with, I've forgotten her name, the one that was the first, you said it earlier, her name, I forgot her name. She's so pretty.
I'm trying to find it.
She was the first.
Michaela Holmgren.
Yes, for Down syndrome. And she was the swimsuit model as well. So breaking barriers.
Wow.
Breaking barriers, the first. I think HCC at Southwest College several years ago did host one of the Real People events at HCC. That way you can actually meet these people because they're there speaking, they're presenters.
It's such
I like the music one too. The music is a good one because you can hear different artists and music. And
yeah, it's such a fantastic partnership, and we really applaud the work that you've done, Sue, and creating visibility and partnerships. And so I just want to make sure everybody knows that, and we'll have more information, of course, but that if you want to meet Michaela, that's going to be on February 13th. And so we'll have the information on where you can go see her. And on February 17th is where you can hear John Bayless. And that's going to be at the River Oaks Theater, and it'll be moderated by Dr. Cindy Ivanhoe. Sue, any final things before we wrap?
I know. Thank you for letting me promote this, because we're not only promoting real education in our collaborative partnership with HCC and JFS and the Alexander Institute with ReelAbilities Houston, but we're hoping to get more people to come out. All of these events are free. You just have to register at the website. And I know you're going to put that website on there. So
that's right.
If you haven't had a chance to check out a ReelAbilities film, come to one of our screenings and you can see one of the short films, but there's going to be so many. We have a whole month long of events. So we hope this will inspire more people to want to attend.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for coming and sharing all this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Sue Moraska, Program Director of the HCC Vast Academy. And we will have all that information in the post after the show. After a quick commercial break, Nick will welcome back our monthly Mental Health Monday guest.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
That one day at PE when they were yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me. I don't think you know how much that helped me. I finally knew that I had somebody.
All right, welcome back. We are going to turn in our second segment to Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, the Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston, and our Mental Health Monday guest. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
So happy to be back here with you, and lovely to follow that segment. The Jewish Family Services is, I just think the world of, and I'm so thrilled to hear that HCC has been a partner with them in that work.
Yeah, VAST and our partners out there are doing a lot of great things around the city. I agree. And so we're going to keep talking about the arts today with you as our Mental Health Monday guest. We'll talk a little bit about the relationship between the arts and depression. So I understand a recent study found that people who attend a cultural event like a theater production or go to a museum were half as likely to suffer depression. Why would that be?
Yeah, it's an intriguing finding, and I think actually makes a lot of common sense. We tend to think of mental health as dependent on neurochemistry, right? We in this culture we medicalize mental health, and so we think about it in terms of what's happening in our brains, which on one level that is what's going on, but we don't think as much about the many different things that affect neurochemistry. Psychiatric drugs have been with us for only really just a blink of human history, and they tend to be these kind of blunt instruments. I mean, I am a proponent of using them, and I've been really helped by them myself. But it takes they take a lot of trial and error to get to work, and they don't necessarily work for everyone. So, when I hear a finding like this, I tend to think of the value of two different dimensions of human experience that don't necessarily have to do with psychiatric drugs or psychotherapy. The first really is the profound value of the arts. And the second is the ways in which our mental health depends on connecting with other people.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I find that whenever I feel at all like, I don't know, my mood is not at the best, the first solution for me is to find people to spend time with, my sons, my friends, but they're not always available. So then catching a movie or watching a concert or going to a museum is a great, uplift, like a way to lift your mood. So why might going to a concert or a movie or even the opera or museum or something like that help with our well-being, aside from, helping minimize depression?
Yeah. So on the bottom, the very first thing I would say is that there are a good stable evidence base that has to do with just getting out of the house. If you're dealing with depression, right, there's something called behavioral activation, where if you get up and go do something that usually would make you happy, but maybe doesn't right now, that it helps. But long before we had the idea of mental health, which is really a pretty recent invention, we had ways of expressing and reflecting on our experience. And I'd say that there are at least three ways in which the arts are really important for our mental health. The first is the value of shifting our attention away from our personal experience and onto the experience of other people. The arts express the complexity of human experience, and we can learn a great deal about ourselves and others. When I finished my graduate training in psychology, my great mentor, who used to work in this office, used to be the director here. I asked him, Jim Hollis, to tell me the 10 books that I really needed to read to be a good therapist, and he did, and they were all novels. They had nothing to do with psychological theory. The second reason is connected with this, right? So when we're struggling, we tend to think we're the only ones. The arts depict the history of human experience, including personal and social struggles, and the healing of those struggles, or the things that get in the way of the healing of those struggles. We get to connect ourselves to an experience of our common humanity, which is Kristen Neff is a University of Texas researcher who coined the term self-compassion. And this is one of the core elements of self-compassion, is connecting to our common humanity. The third reason is really the simplest, which is that we're drawn to beauty, and beauty can evoke a response in us that can be healing.
Well, I'm certain that Dean Tan and I want to see that reading list. But
I'm going to see if I can reconstruct it. Yeah.
The other side of it is I think, like, social interaction with people, you can have intellectual interactions with the arts and with objects and with music as well. And I would think, like in our first topic, that all of that would help with your neurochemistry as well, right? Just the engagement with the arts, with beauty, with ideas.
Definitely.
So I got another question here for you. We usually talk about interaction with other people, but sometimes going to see something like a movie can be kind of solitary. How about the arts and our interconnectedness with each other?
So I'll speak as somebody who has gone to the movies by himself, which I know for some people seems weird, but the cinema is kind of a church for me. And so I don't find it that strange. There is something about, even if you're not, overtly communicating with somebody else, that you're experiencing it at, an art event with. And I think particularly like a movie comedies, right? The effect of comedy really amplifies when you're with other people. That things get funnier. If the movie is actually funny, things get funnier. And there's a lot that happens neurochemically when we laugh. One of the biggest recommendations I would have for people who are struggling with depression is not an arts activity, but something called laughter yoga, which is really does change your neurochemistry. It feels very foolish at first, and then it changes your neurochemistry because of what the chemicals get released as you laugh. The term emotional regulation has become very popular in the last few years, and that comes from psychology. we're always experiencing the emotions of others around us to some degree, and being in a space with people who are enjoying a shared experience kind of rubs off on us. It helps to regulate our feelings. Fundamentally, isolation is the enemy of mental health, and it might actually be a lot easier to go out and participate in an arts activity than other kinds of activities, or activities that might involve talking directly about ourselves or our own experience. That might be harder for people who are struggling with depression.
Well, we've got just about 1 minute here. Let me give you a quick minute to tell us about arts events and other things coming up at the Jung Center.
Two quick things. One, I just can't say enough about the show that we have in our gallery right now. It's called Seen and Unseen by the Houston artist Liz Gates and her two children. It's wonderful. They're kind of like blanket forts right outside of my office, and there are all these beautiful tea towels with symbols on them. It's an expression of the kind of religion that her family developed as children, or as they were in a community that really didn't respect the way that they saw the world. The other thing I'll mention quickly is that Wednesday night, I'll start a series that I do every year. It's called Popcorn Psychology. And what we do is watch 4 movies. This week will be Amor by the Austrian director Michael Haneke. And I'll mention the second one is actually Mary and Max, which has an abilities lens. It has a neurodiversity lens. It's a stop motion animation film that involves an unlikely friendship between a girl in Australia and a man living with autism in New York City. And just a beautiful, really rich film. So.
Well, thank you so much. This is Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, our Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston, and our Mental Health Monday guest. We're going to have a post after the show with all the information about the events there at the center. Thank you so much, Sean.
You bet. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Coming up after a quick commercial break, Amy and I will return with some news and announcements.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars. Really tall. I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands? Yes. You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
And we're back with some news and announcements. To start us off, we have a vocal masterclass, Unlock Your Potential. HCC music students can elevate their stage presence with a recital and masterclass led by Dr. Gwendolyn Alfred of Texas Christian University. Whether vocalists or instrumentalists, students can learn from her and the general public from her dynamic approach. This will be from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. That's this Friday, February 7th at our Central Fine Arts Center. There's free parking available, so be sure to check that post after the show with all the information. And this Saturday, we have a big career fair happening.
That's right. HCC will host a faculty career fair for skilled educators to learn about our programs and discuss potential roles as instructors. HCC encourages all candidates to attend and discover how they can impact our students' lives, and we'd love you to join the HCC team. That's on Saturday from 9 to noon at the HCC West Loop campus, where there will be plenty of free parking.
That is definitely an incentive. You don't always get free parking in Houston. We'll also be having an art exhibition and reception. This is for one of our central faculty members. It is the human condition and cultural identity are driving forces in Maria Valdez's work. But this exhibition features Houston's infrastructure, economy, population, and weather patterns. So I hope that is intriguing to you, and you'll come out to see this exhibition through April 4th. It's at HCC Central Fine Arts Gallery. Her reception will be 6 p.m. Thursday, February 27th. That is the artist reception where you can meet Maria Valdez. Be sure to check the post after the show for more information. And then if you need a haircut,
we can do that. Free barber services have returned to the HCC Central Campus. They're on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so make your plans now to take advantage of this. They're from 9:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon on Tuesdays and Wednesdays only over at HCC Central's J.B. Whitley building. Walk-ins are welcome, but appointments are preferred. Check our post after the show for the number.
and this is big news. We now have food services back at 3100 Main. I know everybody is going to be celebrating this. HCC welcomes the newly branded Cuisines Cafe to the first floor of the District Administration building. It offers grab-and-go items as well as hot meals and a grill. The cafe also offers a cashless pay system with a credit debit card or Apple Pay, or you can use Connect and Pay to create an account to place and pay for advance orders. Check that post after the show.
All right. And finally, we'd like everybody out there to know that spring registration continues. The second start begins on February 10th, and we have other shorter sessions throughout the semester as well. So you can sign up for classes offered in a variety of programs in various session lengths. We offer classes in a whole range of modalities, including our traditional in-person classes, our online on a schedule classes with virtual meetings, our online anytime modality with no meetings, and hybrid versions and hybrid labs as well. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover your costs, go to hcc.edu/apply.
And Nick, thanks for being here. So I completely missed the Grammys. So give us one quick takeaway from the Grammys.
I mean, it was a big night for Beyonce. She finally got Album of the Year. She also got Country Album of the Year, and I think a duet with Miley Cyrus Grammy. So big night for Beyonce, big night for Houston, big night for this turn toward pop country.
That is fantastic to hear. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm gonna have to go read all of the news on all of that. Well, thanks for joining me today.
I'll do it again on Monday.
Excellent. So coming up, we have HCC Coleman College's VP, Dr. Mohammed Talas. He's going to tell us more about their upcoming event with the Houston Housing Authority. And then Tasty Tuesday will return for a special treat, followed by Good Works Wednesday with a surprise guest from our own Up to the Minute team. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.